Alright, just FYI, I'm gonna go ahead and spoil the ever-living out of the Witch Queen campaign in this video, so if you haven't played it yet and you don't want to hear spoilers, you should probably leave. But, you know, leave a like and subscribe on your way out the door. Alright, well I guess I should start this video out by acknowledging the elephant in the room regarding my Savathun fascism video, where I said that we definitely shouldn't ally with her. So, I guess what I want to say is...
I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so.
Okay, but seriously, Season of the Lost got us a little closer than I would have liked. In fact, I couldn't really bring myself to listen to the Crystal Savathun. But she was holding a friend hostage, so not immediately killing her was understandable, I guess. But anyways, that's not why you're here. You want to see what I think of the Witch Queen, at least I hope. It was good. It was really, really good. Definitely the best Destiny campaign we've gotten to date. So let's start with the summary. Mars is suddenly back from the void. You may recall the darkness stealing it away, leaving only its gravitational effects in place. Now, we don't know the exact mechanics of how it was taken, but somehow the Disciple was able to claw it back into our reality. On Mars, we find the Cabal up to their usual shenanigans, and we get the impression that they are trying to break our treaty and stage an attack on us. Instead, it's revealed that they are constructing a cannon to take out Savathun's very own dreadnought. It's a semicircle. Ikora's Hidden are immediately dispatched to Mars, discovering even more pyramid ship relics, including one that gives me very Pit and the Pendulum vibes. Meanwhile, we Edgar Allan go to Savathun's ship to see what all the fuss is inside. We find something unexpected, something terrifying and mysterious. A lot of vaginal imagery. Also, Lightbearer Hive, but for real, I can't be the only one that noticed this, right? Like, this? Anyways, after killing the Lightbearer Hive, Georgia O'Keeffe herself asks us how we could kill something so like ourselves. Lady, you must not know humanity, that's just like a Tuesday. We seemingly kill her, but it was all a ruse to... Well, I think it was a ruse to give us a reason to begin hunting Savathun, which would set us on a journey, finding her memories, or something. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Either way, we get yeeted out of the ship and go visit Ikora at the Enclave on Mars. Nobody is able to understand how Savathun was able to get her hands on the light, and we all conclude that she must have stolen it. Upon returning to Savathun's throne world to find more answers to the mystery, we discover Finch, a Hive ghost who has become a conscientious objector to Savathun's cause, refusing to revive his Hive. Ghost and I were convinced that Finch planned to betray us and was part of some long con, but to prove himself, he tells us about a temple of Xivu Arath, which contains Sagira's ghost shell. If you recall from last season, there was this tiny little detail that we learned that Osiris had been possessed by Savathun. For like a whole year. Sagira, his ghost, had been killed by Xivu Arath's champion, the High Celebrant, like a year and a half ago, but somehow Savathun or Xivu Arath came into possession of her shell, and it wound up in Savathun's throne world. So, of course, we go get our girl back. We run into the Scorn on the way, who have also infiltrated the throne world, trying to take the ghost for themselves. Now, we don't actually know it yet, but they are actually working as agents of Big Daddy Rolk. But they're in our way, so we smash them up something fierce. Turns out, Sagira's ghost contains one of the lost memories of Savathun from before she attained the light. We're able to see a piece of said memory, in which the old girl mentions a being called the Witness, but Ikora believes that our new deep sight power will allow us to see the entirety of this memory if we go to the pyramid on Europa. The reason for that is... At the same time, though, rogue Cabal forces managed to infiltrate the pyramid ship to steal power away for themselves, which is concerning, but we don't have time for those implications, so we just smash through them and try not to think about it. Upon viewing the full memory from Sagira, we learn that this being, the Witness, is the one behind the darkness. We also learn that Savathun had been impersonating Osiris in order to learn more about the light. But hang on, that brings up the question, is the Witness the same as the Winnower? Is that the being we talked to at the end of Shadowkeep, the one who wore our face? Well, there are tons of theories flying around online, many of which point out the different pronoun usage that we see between snippets from the Witness and those found in the Unveiling lorebook and the like. Some of it focuses on the difference between their ideologies. It seems like the winnower just wanted a perfectly ordered universe where the witness just wants to pave paradise and put up a parking lot. The point is, we just don't know. At least not for now. Setting aside the implications, we get more leads from Finch. First, on one of Oryx's tablets of ruin, the things that granted him the ability to take. And we use it to uncover yet another stored memory. The witness has the ability to take entire planets, which I guess we kind of already knew, but we learn that this is Savathun's ultimate goal, to use this power to steal away the Traveler. Next, he sends us to the Simple of Sothona to scoop up her worm familiar. This time, though, recovering the memory involves a whole rigmarole, leading Ikora to an existential crisis, which, I mean, same, girl, same. But after jumping through Eris and Mara's hoops, we are able to finally recover the memory. This is where we uncover the true twist of Witch Queen, the revelation that the light wasn't actually stolen. Rather, it was freely given by the Traveler. Mara's plan actually worked. She was able to fatally wound Savathun, but at the last moment, Savi traveled to the outskirts of the last city and in her dying breath told the Traveler that she had intended on saving it from the darkness. This was apparently enough to convince the god to bestow the light on her. If you have played Destiny at all, then you know how big a deal this is when considering Savathun's past deeds. There is an important implication here that nobody says out loud. It struck me that so soon after Savathun's resurrection, she began her scheming and manipulating right away. I don't think I'm being clear here. Let me step back and explain it a different way. We have always been told that ghosts pick their guardian based on their potential for nobility. Even if the person wasn't great or even good in life, they had the potential to be so as a guardian. Consider the common crow. Uldren was, to put it politely, a total douche canoe during his actual life. However, being reborn as Crow gave him a chance to prove nurture versus nature, that given the correct opportunities and conditions, any person can become good. Also, that a person, or really their consciousness, is just a collection of memories and associations. Take that away, and you basically have a blank slate. So Crow came out the other end a really rad guy, who is now my bestie, and I'll murder anyone who tries to take him away from me. Anyways. But apparently, just to prove herself a contrarian, Savathun is Savathun is Savathun, regardless of circumstances or memories. Her douche canoe is still floating down the river, doing just fine. At first, I thought this was a plot hole. Wouldn't she be a little bit more benevolent, or at the very least, more ambivalent? No, apparently. She is the same regardless of what she knows or remembers, which I think proves my point from that one video. Still, there is the question of why the Traveler gave her the light in the first place. As I see it, there are only two possibilities. Either, one, the Traveler really believes that Savathun has the potential for nobility, and I think you know my opinion on that. Maybe ask the Harmony, or the Ecumene, or the Golden Mast civilizations what they think about the topic. Might be hard for them to respond though, since they, suffered a bit of a setback. But more importantly, we can see directly from the campaign that this isn't the case. Savathun is willing to wipe out humanity yet again, or at least steal away our only means of defense. Or, two, the Traveler is more self-serving and not this incontestable pillar of morality as Guardians were led to believe. Simply put, Traveler didn't want to die, yo. Regardless, we get the rug pulled out from under us here because Savathun then reveals that her ploy this whole time was to have us recover her memories for her, something that she had tested out on Crow last season. So we basically retaught her exactly who she was and what her plans were from before her death, including how to take the Traveler. In retrospect, this should have been pretty obvious. I mean, we did uncover these memories while in her throne world, which is basically like her mind, or at least is connected to her mind, or some weird shit like that. You know what I mean. But the real question I know you're all asking yourself is, does this mean Finch is also a rat bastard after all? I mean, he was the one that led us to all these relics in the first place, right? Oop, no time for that. Ikora realizes that the familiar might actually be the one that originally belonged to Savathun's father, the Osmium King, and more importantly, might contain other memories locked from the Witch Queen. So she takes it to the dangly relic on Mars to see what she can reveal, which Fucking finally, someone else is doing work around here, God. What she finds is something that we ostensibly already knew, yet they act as if it's a revelation. The familiar holds a memory of the worm gods plotting to deceive Savathun and their family. The worms warned the sisters of the syzygy, the god wave, which supposedly happened when the 52 moons of Fundament are in alignment. Only problem was, the syzygy wasn't real, or at least it wasn't going to happen when they were told it would. But see, if you were paying attention to the Books of Sorrow, this should have been fairly obvious. The worms were always deceitful creatures in the text, and it was implied that they only said those things to get Oryx and her sisters to accept their worms and become the hive. And even diegetically, Eris translated the calcified fragments, which contained said text, which the Guardian and Ikora both read. Oh well, not that big a deal, I guess. Either way, Savathun doesn't remember it at this point, so the plan becomes to hold on to it, keeping it close to the vest until the opportune time. Speaking of which, Ikora learns that Savathun is presently carrying out her plans, creating the spell that will bring the Traveler into the throne world. She actually succeeds, but we make it in time to sever her Threadweaver's connection to the Traveler, and at that moment drop the metaphorical bomb on her regarding the deception by the worm gods. We use the opportunity created from her rage and confusion to finally kill her once and for all in the longest and coolest boss fight to date in any Destiny campaign. However, her ghost Imaru escapes before we can gain the satisfaction of crushing it in our hands, meaning we have to listen to it say the same goddamn lines every time we pick it up on a patrol. No joke, I was farming the Kill 'Em All patrols and heard the same exact lines 3 times in a row. But what's weird is that it was only the first line. So that's the end of the campaign. There's more to it afterwards, including the mission for the Parasite, where we learn both that Savathun was present during humanity's collapse as an agent of the Witness, as well as Mara's plans to kill Eris, Crow, and us, but only as contingencies if any of us fall to the darkness. So basically, she's Batman for this universe. The raid also has some cool lore, which I might read in the future. But that's as far as I'm going to go for this video. So what did I think about the story? Well, as I said at the beginning, I thought it was pretty damn good. While I don't think the twists were completely unexpected for anyone paying attention to the lore, the campaign did tell a complete and solid story. It revealed a lot more about the darkness and had some great world building otherwise, including that the Pyramid Fleet aren't actually the Traveler's opposite, as they're actually piloted by beings inside rather than being a giant robot god like our special round boy. But it did a great job fleshing out the universe and giving us a glimpse of the endgame for the story of the Light and Darkness, which is probably more than can be said for any previous expansion, except maybe the end of Shadowkeep. Most other Destiny campaigns are only indirectly related to the overarching story of the universe, whereas the events of Witch Queen have direct implications for how that story will play out, and I think that's what you want to have in a story. What about the gameplay? Well, before release, Bungie made a comment in like a Vidoc or something that they wanted it to be their equivalent to Titanfall 2, with more varied and involved mechanics, almost like a campaign full of Whisper or Glycon missions. I'll just say, for the former, it didn't quite succeed. Titanfall 2 is still hands down the best FPS campaign ever, and if you haven't played it, then you are missing out. However, if we're just comparing it to other Destiny stories, then it stands tall above any of the other campaigns. I played it with 2 friends on Legendary, and the best way I can describe it is this. Each mission is basically like its own dungeon, maybe a little bit shorter, but it really is almost like a campaign full of those awesome secret missions. Bungie succeeded there for sure. The boss mechanics, the non-combat puzzles, the platforming, and just the difficulty of higher level enemies mixed with Lucent Brood Hive and all the mechanics involved there is extremely engaging and made me want to keep coming back each night. And it did take my fire team about 4 to 5 nights to completely finish the campaign, as Witch Queen is longer by far than anything that came before. Just as an estimate without looking at the numbers, it felt like 3 or so times the length of Beyond Light, for example. And it damn well needed to be, considering the hefty price tag on the deluxe edition. And of course, I know all the extras that are included, but still, $100 is $100. So if you're watching this video and you haven't yet played the game, I would definitely recommend it for the story and its gameplay alone. When you factor in things like weapon crafting, in-game, and the things that Bungie has added along the way, including cross-save, cross-play, transmog, etc., Witch Queen is peak Destiny goodness.
And yeah, that's basically it for the video. If you liked it, maybe give it a like and maybe hit subscribe. We are almost at 2K, and you know, why not make it 5 or even 10? Who knows? But also, I'd like to give a huge thank you to Stephen Bow, who became our latest patron. Thank you very much, man. You rock. And as do all my other patrons, thank you guys so much. You make videos like these literally possible because I'm able to pay for things like green screens and new 4K cameras and stuff like that. So thank you again. If you'd like to join them, you can click on the link in the description. It helps out a lot. Also, there's a link on the screen right now, and now I'm just rambling, so I'm going to shut up. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time.